All right, on to the AFC. We're going to start off with the AFC South. And let's start off with the Indianapolis Colts losing out on Carson Wentz, but adding some pieces in there. Hudson, where do you have him finishing?
I have the Colts winning the division at 11-6. Yes, they did lose Carson Wentz, but they got Matt Ryan, who is a much better upgrade for that team. Jonathan Taylor obviously came out of nowhere, at least for most people, and really put on a show last season. Obviously being ranked as now one of, if not the best running back in the NFL, which could be a bit of a stretch, but we may have a video on that coming at some point before the season. The defense, obviously led by Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner, guys like that, just really make this team have one of the best defenses in the league. Michael Pittman is, I feel like, bound for a really, really good year this season. And I really think that this Colts team doesn't really have a tough opponent, as it's really between them or Tennessee to win the division. But with Tennessee actually losing some guys, I feel like the Colts should be able to open up and be able to take the division and make the playoffs for the first time in at least a couple of years since like Phillip Rivers at 11-6.
I have the Colts finishing at 12-5. This is going to be one of the better teams in the AFC, in my opinion. They're going to finish 5-1 in the division. And their schedule is relatively easy. To start the year, they're going to finish. To start the year, they're going to be doing pretty well. They'll lose to a game to Tennessee, but I think they'll split with Tennessee, and I think they'll beat some of the better teams like the Eagles. I have them beating the Patriots. They'll lose to the Broncos and the Raiders and the Vikings. But other than that, and I have them actually upsetting the Chargers on a Monday night. That's a big one. But I think this team is very good. Matt Ryan will make all the difference in the world. Jonathan Taylor, in my opinion, he's the best running back in the league right now. But this team is going to be very good. They're going to be the best team in the division, but I have them finishing fourth in the conference at 12-5.
Okay, well, fourth in the conference? Well, let me see.
Yeah, fourth in the conference, and they finished 12-5. Yeah, okay. I know. Just wait.
No, it's not too far-fetched. I have them going 11-6, so exact same as Hudson. Who is their, like, is Michael Pittman their best receiver? Did they add anyone else?
Pittman is their best receiver.
They re-signed T.Y. Hilton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Hilton's still on that, but
their receiving core is not the strongest. They don't have like that.
Their O-line is all that matters, bro.
Is very Nelson. Good, which is why Jonathan Taylor was one of the reasons why he was so successful last season. Hudson just okay. Well, the O-line is very good. The defense is obviously very good. And Matt Ryan, he's not the best, but he's solid. He's better than Carson Wentz. They'll win 11 games. They have a pretty favorable schedule. And that'll be the Colts. All right, moving to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hudson, where do you have them finishing?
I have the Jaguars finishing at 6-11, third in the division. I think this team's going to be better than last season. Obviously, one of the first-round picks from 2021 alongside Trevor Lawrence with Travis Etienne did not play a single snap last season. So he's been looking good reportedly in training camp. He's been looking or in mini camp, whatever, rookie camp. He's been looking really, really good. So I'd assume he can stay healthy this season after undergoing rehab and therapy and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he can play because obviously we have not seen him play in the NFL yet. It's been 2 years since we saw him play at Clemson alongside Trevor Lawrence. So with this Jacksonville receiving core, obviously losing DJ Chark, but with bringing in Zay Jones and obviously giving a ton of money to Christian Kirk, I feel like this team can get some wins. Obviously not some type of playoff contender, but will admit caught me off guard taking Trayvon Walker number one So we'll be very excited to see how he does after his draft stock just literally skyrocketed within the last couple weeks before the draft. So looking forward to see how this team plays behind Trevor Lawrence. I think he can excel to be one of the league's not top 10, but definitely be one of the best sophomore quarterbacks in the NFL this season.
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing 3-14. They're going to be 2-4 in the division, and I think you know which two teams they're going to be, or which one team they're going to be twice. Look, man, it's very weird to I think Trevor Lawrence is a solid player, but they have to play the AFC West, and that division is just crazy. And then they have to play in the NFC. They got to play the NFC. Who do they have to play in the NFC? Looking right here. I think they have to play the NFC East. And that's going to be very difficult. So look, 3 wins is gracious. They could win more. Trevor Lawrence is good, but for right now, I just have them finishing 3-14. So
I got them going 4-13. So just 1 win above. Not a huge fan of this team. I think taking Trayvon Walker was a risk. We'll see if it pays off, but he was definitely more of a project drafted because of his upside than anything. I think ETN is good, but we'll have to see how he plays. And then obviously I think their O-line could use some help, which is why I'm not too invested in this team. I think that Trevor Lawrence might get sacked quite a bit this season. So 4-13 will be the record for me for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then we can move on to the Tennessee Titans. Hudson.
I have the Titans finishing second in this division at 10-7. Like I mentioned, the loss of A.J. Brown is going to hurt them dramatically. They did bring in Robert Woods, and also Treylon Burks, who they hope will be the A.J. Brown replacement, who I don't think will be the type of physical receiver, but maybe a speedy type of receiver will be able to help them better behind Derrick Henry in that backfield. If he can stay healthy this season, obviously we saw him out for a big portion of last season with that foot injury. Ryan Tannehill is aging, but I'm not sure if we're going to see Malik Willis play this season. Definitely would love to. I wouldn't be surprised if we do. Also wouldn't be surprised if we don't. But I really wouldn't be surprised also if this team missed the playoffs. I just feel like this team is not going to be as good as they were last season. Finishing 1 in the conference, they lost to the Bengals, who ended up making it to the Super Bowl. But I feel like the Titans are going to be an interesting team to see this season, especially through the first half, because I feel like a lot of people really do not know where this team is going to end up.
This is one of the more difficult teams to rank in terms of a schedule, but I have the Tennessee Titans going 8-9. They're going to finish 5-1 in the division, though, with 4 wins against Jacksonville and Houston combined. Look, Derrick Henry's a beast. Don't get me wrong, except you play the AFC West. And like I mentioned before, that division is a heater. And you play the NFC, you play the Packers. You got to play the NFC West. It's just a difficult schedule. So I think they're going to finish 8-9 and miss the playoffs. But because Ryan Tannehill is not that guy. It's going to be very difficult for them. The defense will always do their job, but it's getting a little weaker back there, and I have a feeling Ryan Tannehill is about to regress heavily this year. If I'm not mistaken, he is in his late 30s. He's getting into his late 30s.
Yeah, I think he's like 37.
He's 33. Yeah, he's getting
33.
Late.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the Titans finishing 8-9. It might be way lower than what y'all expect, but I don't think this team is going to be that good this year.
Nah, I have the exact same record, 8-9. Okay. They have the best running back in the NFL. That's about it. Don't have any. I mean, their defense is good. Kevin Byard I mean, they have a good defense. Tannehill, I'm sure the Dolphins would take him back if they could, but he's 33. He still has some juice left. You know, quarterbacks don't really get washed until late. But yeah, I think you know, Tannehill. His biggest accomplishment last season was beating his old team in the playoffs in the wild card. So yeah, I think that after that, I think he's pretty satisfied after whooping his old team 17-3 or whatever the score was. 8-9 will be the record for the Titans though. As you move on to the Texans, the last team in the division.
All right. Yeah. The Titans game was pretty brutal, but I think that was in the past. So we'll be focused on this upcoming season. With the Texans, I've been finishing last in the division. They are also going to be one of the worst teams in football. I've been finishing at 2-15, so definitely going to be in heavy contention for that first overall spot. Not too sure. The season will tell whether they have their quarterback in Davis Mills. He looked pretty impressive last season. You can make the argument that he was a top 2 quarterback in the 2021 draft last season. So definitely interested to see how he plays this season. Brandon Cooks is the guy that headlines that receiving core. Definitely an underrated guy in the league, I will say. This team is going to be really bad. I'm not expecting more than 3 wins from this team at the very most.
Well, you guys might yell at me again. I have another 1-16 team on my hands, and that's the Houston Texans. I don't think his team is that good. They did like the Derek Stingley pick is confusing to me. I did call it they were going to pick him, but I don't think he was the pick at that point. They should have gone with like Kayvon Thibodeau or an offensive tackle. It's going to be iffy, very iffy. And I just don't like this team. Houston's not that very good on defense. Derek Stingley is not going to make too much of an impact, in my opinion. And the offense is not that good. Davis Mills is very solid, but he's not going to make too much of a difference. And so I have them finishing 1-16.
This is my first 1-16. So yeah, I'm finishing 1-16 as well. I think their O-line is atrocious. I think Davis Mills will be breaking the record for how many times a QB is going to get sacked next season. Yeah, their offensive line is terrible. Apart from Laramie Tunsil. But I think that the team, I mean, Derek Stingley pick, a little bit confusing, but I get it. He was a very good corner at LSU. They do need some secondary help. But yeah, I just don't see this team winning too many games, especially the AFC. So that's going to be the AFC South.